The door flew open like a gunshot in the dead of night, splintering the fragile cocoon of my secret world. "What the fuck, Alex?" Steven's voice cracked like thunder, his silhouette frozen in the hallway light, eyes wide with a mix of horror and something I couldn't name. Betrayal? Disgust? Or was it hunger? In that split second, my heart slammed against my ribs, the laptop screen still glowing with frozen images of men tangled in ways I'd only dreamed of, my hand frozen mid-motion on my thigh, the air thick with the scent of sweat and shame. I bolted upright, yanking the blanket over my lap like it could erase the last 5 minutes. But it was too late. The damage was done, etched into the space between us like a scar that wouldn't fade. Steven didn't move, his gym bag slipping from his shoulder to the floor with a thud that echoed louder than my pulse. And in his stare, I saw the unraveling of everything we'd built. Late-night pizza runs, shared silences over bad horror flicks, the easy rhythm of 2 broke college kids scraping by in a shoebox apartment off-campus in Ann Arbor. "You're gay?" he whispered, the word hanging there, not accusatory, but shattered, like he'd just discovered the punchline to a joke that wasn't funny anymore. And just like that, the walls I'd built around my desires crumbled, leaving me exposed, raw, and utterly speechless as the boy I'd been half in love with for 2 years stared back, his own secrets flickering in the shadows of his eyes. File 1. The rain hammered the window panes of our 3rd floor walk-up like it was trying to drown out the awkwardness that had settled over the apartment like fog rolling off the Huron River. It was a typical Michigan fall night, chilly, relentless, the kind that made you question why anyone chose the Midwest over, say, a beach in California. But Ann Arbor had its charms. The crisp autumn leaves crunching underfoot on State Street, the thump of indie bands at the Blind Pig, the way the University of Michigan campus lit up like a beacon for dreamers like me, chasing a psych degree and pretending I had my shit together. Steven and I had been roommates since freshman year, thrown together by the housing lottery like a bad blind date. He was the golden boy from a suburb outside Detroit, tall, broad-shouldered, with that effortless Michigan jock vibe. Faded UMich Wolverines tees stretched over a chest honed from pickup basketball games, sandy hair that always looked windswept, and green eyes that crinkled when he laughed, which was often. Me, Alex Rivera, from a nowhere town in Texas via community college. Wiry build from too many shifts at the campus coffee shop, dark curls that never stayed tamed, and brown eyes that hid more than they revealed. We clicked from day one, bonded over a mutual hatred of our chem-prof and a shared addiction to craft IPAs from the corner brewery. That night, though, as I sat on my unmade bed, the laptop balanced precariously on my knees, I'd let my guard down. Finals were 2 weeks out, stress gnawing at my edges like termites, and the only release I'd found was scrolling through those forbidden tabs. Guys like me, exploring bodies in the dim glow of screens, whispers of touch and tension that made my skin hum. I clicked play on a video that hit too close, 2 roommates, accidental brush of hands turning into something electric, and before I knew it, my hand had wandered, breaths coming short, imagining it was Steven's calloused palm instead of my own. Then the door. The freeze frame. His voice. He'd retreated to the kitchen after that initial standoff, cracking open a beer from the fridge with a hiss that cut through the silence. I heard the cap clink against the counter, the glug of liquid, then nothing. Minutes stretched like taffy, my mind replaying the scene on loop, the way his jaw had clenched, the flicker of confusion in his eyes before they darted to the screen, then away, cheeks flushing under the stubble. Gay. The word he'd uttered like it was a grenade pin pulled. I pulled on sweatpants, heart still jackhammering, and padded out barefoot, the linoleum cold against my soles. He was leaning against the sink, staring out at the rain-slicked alley, bottle dangling from his fingers. "Stephen," I started, voice scraping like sandpaper. "It's not, it is, but, save it, man." He didn't turn, but his shoulders tensed, the kind of rigid that said walls up, drawbridge raised. I need a minute. Or 10. Fuck. The air between us crackled, heavy with unspoken what-ifs. I'd always known I was gay, figured it out in high school, buried it under football cheers and straight-A facades to keep my conservative folks from flipping. College was supposed to be freedom, but freedom felt a lot like isolation when your secrets stayed locked in your chest. Stephen, straight as an arrow, or so I thought. Dates with sorority girls from Delta Gamma, stories of hookups after tailgates that left him grinning like the cat that ate the canary. But there were moments. His hand lingering on my shoulder after a nightmare woke me at 3 a.m., the way he'd watch me sketch in my notebook with an intensity that felt too personal. "I didn't mean for you to see that," I said finally, leaning against the door frame, arms crossed like armor. "It's private." "Shit. I'm sorry." He set the bottle down with a deliberate clunk, turning to face me. Close. In the harsh kitchen fluorescence, he looked wrecked, eyes bloodshot, lips pressed thin. "Private? We share a bathroom the size of a postage stamp. Alex. Walls are paper thin. I get it, people jerk off. But it was intense. Like you were somewhere else entirely." Heat flooded my face, a mix of mortification and that traitorous spark of thrill at his noticing. "Yeah. Well, stress relief. Finals. You know." He nodded slowly, rubbing the back of his neck, a habit when he was processing. "Look, I'm not judging. Or at least, I'm trying not to. It's just Donald." My stomach dropped like I'd missed a step on the stairs. Donald. Stephen's best friend since Pee-wee football, the third wheel in our trio, all brooding intensity and sharp wit. Tall like Stephen but leaner, with jet black hair and hazel eyes that could pin you in place. Donald was the Ian to Stephen's Yang, where Stephen was sunlit fields. Donald was stormy skies over Lake Michigan. We'd met through Stephen's sophomore year, bonded over late-night philosophy debates at Zingerman's Deli, and somewhere along the line, I developed this stupid, aching crush on him. The kind that made my palms sweat when he crashed on our couch after too many shots at the bar. "What about him?" I asked, voice steadier than I felt. Stephen's gaze flicked to mine, searching. "Nothing. Forget it." But the lie hung there, thick as the steam from the kettle he'd absent-mindedly set to boil. The next morning dawned gray and sodden, the rain easing to a drizzle that pattered against the fire escape like impatient fingers. I dragged myself to my 9 a.m. lecture on abnormal psych, notebook clutched like a shield, but my mind was a whirlwind, replaying Stephen's face, the way his voice had softened on Donald's name. By noon, I was at the coffee shop, steaming lattes for co-eds in UGG boots, when my phone buzzed. A text from Stephen. "Hey. Beers tonight? Neutral ground. Need to talk." My thumb hovered, pulse quickening. Neutral ground meant the Brown Jug, that dive bar on South University where locals nursed pitchers and tourists got lost. I typed back, "Yeah. 8. His reply was instant. "Cool. Donald's coming too." Of course he was. The universe's idea of a joke. The bar was a zoo by 8, Friday crowd spilling out onto the sidewalk, the air thick with fried pickles and spilled Bud Light. I spotted them at a high top near the back. Stephen in his maize and blue hoodie, laughing at something Donald said, the two of them silhouetted against the neon glow of a Miller sign. Donald leaned in, clapping Stephen on the back, his smile easy, predatory in that effortless way. My chest tightened as I wove through the throng, sliding onto the stool beside Stephen. "Alex, you made it." Stephen's grin was forced, but he slid a pint my way, IPA, my go-to. Just in time to hear Don's epic fail at intramural soccer. Donald rolled his eyes, but his gaze lingered on me, warm and assessing. "Lies. I scored the winner." Stephen's just salty. I nutmegged him. His voice was low, laced with that faint Chicago twang from his Windy City roots. Parents divorced, mom in finance, dad a prof at UChicago. We talked about it once, over whiskey sours at a house party, his vulnerability slipping out like a confession. We fell into rhythm, the three of us, shots of Jameson chasing stories of botched exams and hookups gone wrong. But under the banter, tension simmered. Stephen's knee brushed mine under the table once, twice, accidental maybe, but it sent jolts up my spine. Donald noticed, his eyes narrowing slightly, a question unspoken. By the third round, the bar's hum faded, and Stephen cleared his throat. "So, about last night." My grip tightened on the glass. Donald's brow furrowed. "Last night," Stephen waved it off. "Nothing. Roomy stuff," but his eyes on me said otherwise, pleading for a truce. We stumbled home past midnight, the drizzle turning to mist, streetlights haloing the Gothic spires of the Law Quad. Donald had peeled off at his off-campus house, promising Pancake Sunday, his ritual after boozy nights. Stephen and I trudged up the stairs in silence, the landing light flickering like a bad omen. Inside, he collapsed on the couch, kicking off his sneakers. "Alex, for real, I'm cool with it. The gay thing. Or bi. Whatever. You're still you." Relief washed over me, tentative. "Thanks, man. Means a lot." He patted the cushion beside him. "Come here." "Truce beer." I sat, our shoulders touching, the warmth of him seeping through fabric. The TV droned on some infomercial, but neither of us watched. "It's just complicated," I admitted, voice low. "Hiding it. From everyone. Including Donald?" His tone was casual, but his body went still. I swallowed. "Yeah. Especially him." Stephen turned, his face inches from mine, breath minty from gum. "Why him?" The question hung, loaded. In the dim light, his eyes were dark pools, pulling me in. "Because he's real. Intense. Makes me feel seen." Stephen's jaw ticked. "And me? What am I? Alex, the safe straight guy." I laughed, bitter. "Safe? You've got no idea." He leaned closer, the space between us electric. "Then tell me." Our lips met in a crash, desperate, tasting of hops and regret. His hand cupped my neck, fingers threading into my curls, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to that. His mouth hot and unsure, a low groan rumbling from his chest. Then he pulled back, eyes wild. "Fuck. I can't." "Why not?" My voice broke, hand fisting his hoodie. "Because of Donald," he whispered, the confession spilling like blood from a fresh cut. "He's everything to me. And he wants you." The room spun. Betrayal? No, revelation. Stephen and Donald, tangled in their own secret dance. And me, the unwitting pawn. Sleep evaded me that night. The couch a lumpy battlefield where Stephen had crashed after fleeing to his room. Door clicking shut like a guillotine. I lay staring at the water-stained ceiling. The kiss replaying in Technicolor. The hesitant press of his lips. The way his stubble rasped against mine. Rough and real. But the words after, because of Donald, they were the poison arrow, piercing clean through. By dawn, the apartment smelled of burnt toast. Stephen's attempt at breakfast, I guessed, from the clatter in the kitchen. I rolled off the couch, bones aching, and found him hunched over the counter, scrolling his phone with ferocity, a half-eaten bagel abandoned beside a pot of coffee that had gone cold. "Morning," I muttered, pouring a mug black, the steam curling like unanswered questions. He glanced up, shadows under his eyes matching mine. "Hey. About last night. Don't." I held up a hand, the bitterness sharp on my tongue. "Just coffee first." Then we unpacked this mess. We sat at the rickety formica table, knees not quite touching, the silence broken only by the distant honk of a delivery truck on Packard Street. An arbor was waking joggers in neon, professors herding hungover undergrads to the diagram, but our bubble felt hermetic, pressurized. Stephen broke first. It wasn't planned. The kiss. Shit. I've never. He trailed off, rubbing his temples. But Donald, he's been my rock since we were kids. Broke up with his ex last spring. The one who cheated with his TA. He was wrecked. And then he started talking about you. How you get him, the psych shit, the sketches you do of the campus at sunset. Said you're the first guy who's made him question everything. My heart stuttered. Donald questioning. The brooding artist type, always quoting Kerouac over late-night smokes on his porch, had confided in Stephen about me. Pieces clicked. The lingering looks at parties, the texts checking in after my shifts, the way he'd brush my arm when passing the joint, electric and fleeting. "So you knew," I said, voice steady despite the storm inside. "And you let me think. I didn't let you do anything." His eyes flashed. Defensive. "Don's my best friend. More than that, if I'm honest. We've experimented. Back in high school, drunk on his parents' vodka. Nothing serious, just kids figuring shit out. But he likes you, Alex. For real. And fuck, I don't know what I feel." The confession landed like a sucker punch. Stephen and Donald, bromance or something deeper. It explained the ease between them, the inside jokes that left me on the outside, the way they'd disappear for guys' weekends up north, fishing rods in tow but eyes too bright upon return. And the kiss, pressed, leaning forward, the table edge digging into my palms. Was that pity or jealousy? He met my gaze, unflinching. Both. And more. Seeing you like that, on your bed. Flipped something. Made me see you, not as my roommate, but as you. Heat bloomed in my chest, warring with the ache. "We can't do this." Not without him knowing. Stephen nodded. Slow. Agreed. But we tell him together. Tonight. Pancakes. Remember, the day dragged like molasses. My psych seminar a blur of Freudian slips that felt too on the nose, notes scribbled in margins about repression and desire. By afternoon, I was sketching in the arboretum, charcoal smudging my fingers as I captured the gnarled oaks bent by wind, their branches entwined like lovers defying the storm. My phone buzzed mid-stroke. Donald. Pancakes at my place? 6. Bring your appetite. And that killer smile. I typed back, wouldn't miss it. See you. His place was a Victorian shotgun on Hill Street, sagging porch strung with fairy lights, the kind of fixer-upper that screamed starving artist. He answered the door in ripped Levi's and a faded Radiohead tee, flour dusted on his cheek like war paint. Alex, Steven's already here, hogging the batter. Inside, the air was syrup-sweet, jazz crooning from a vintage turntable, Coltrane's saxophone weaving melancholy threads. Steven manned the griddle in the galley kitchen, flipping pancakes with theatrical flair, but his smile didn't reach his eyes when he saw me. We ate cross-legged on the living room rug, plates balanced on knees, syrup sticky on fingers. Banter flowed easy at first, roasting Steven's latest Tinder disaster, Donald's failed attempt at taxidermy, a squirrel that looked more like roadkill. But undercurrents pulled, glances lingering too long. Donald's foot nudging mine under the coffee table, Steven's laugh a beat off. As plates cleared, Donald stretched, cat-like. All right, Bill. You two look like you swallowed lemons. What's up? Steven and I exchanged a look, the kind that said now or never. I set my fork down, heart in my throat. It's about last night. Steven walked in on me. During something private. Donald's brow arched, intrigued rather than alarmed. Private how? Gay shit, Steven blurted, then winced. I mean, Alex is gay. And we kissed. After, the room went still, Coltrane's notes the only heartbeat. Donald's face cycled through shock. Then something sharper, hurt, raw and unguarded. You kissed? Him. Steven nodded, miserable. It just happened. But Don. You. Me. Donald's laugh was brittle, standing abruptly, pacing to the window overlooking the leaf-choked yard. Yeah. Me. The idiot who's been pining after Alex for months, dropping hints like breadcrumbs, while you two play house. And now this. I rose, hand outstretched. Donald. Wait. I didn't know. Steven just told me. He whirled, eyes blazing. Told you now? Convenient. After you two lock lips, his voice cracked, vulnerability bleeding through the anger. I've been out to Steven since high school. Alex. By, if you must label it. And yeah, I like you, more than like. Thought maybe you felt it too. The way you look at me during those dumb movie nights. Like I'm the only one in the room. I do, I whispered, stepping closer, the air between us charged. God, I do. But it's messed up. All of us. Steven joined us. The three of us a tight knot by the window. Rain pattering against the glass like applause for our chaos. We're idiots, he said, voice thick. Best friends. Roommates. Crushes colliding. But I don't want to lose either of you. Donald searched our faces, the storm in his eyes easing to drizzle. Then what? A throuple? Or do we draw straws? We laughed, the sound ragged but real, breaking the tension like dawn through clouds. That night, we talked till 2 a.m., confessions spilling. Steven's confusion over his straight facade, my Texas upbringing stifling my truth, Donald's fear of repeating his ex's betrayals. Hands brushed, then held, a tentative kiss between Donald and me, soft and searching, Steven watching with a mix of envy and awe. But as I lay awake later, back in our apartment with Stephen snoring softly across the hall, doubt crept in. This fragile triangle, could it hold? Or was it a house of cards, waiting for the next gust? The week blurred into a haze of stolen moments and whispered plans. Mornings, Donald would text memes that made me snort laugh in lecture halls. Afternoons, Stephen and I navigated the apartment like minefield, our touches electric, a graze in the kitchen, his breath on my neck as he reached for cereal. Evenings, the three of us convened at Donald's, cooking disasters turning into make-out sessions on the couch. Bodies learning each other in tentative exploration. Stephen's broad hands mapping my back, Donald's lips tracing Stephen's collarbone, my fingers interlacing with theirs in the dark. Felt like summer lightning, brilliant, fleeting. And Arbor conspired with us. Golden afternoons in the Nichols Arboretum, picnics under maples shedding crimson leaves, the three of us tangled on blankets, laughter echoing off the Huron's banks. "This is us," Donald murmured one dusk, head on my lap, Stephen's arm slung over us both. No labels, just us. But labels have a way of sneaking back. Whispers started. A frat brother side-eyeing Stephen at practice. A sorority girl cornering me at the coffee shop. "Heard you and Don are." Close. "And Stephen? What's his deal?" Paranoia bloomed. I caught Stephen deleting texts from an ex, his face paling when I asked. "Just closure," he insisted. But the seed of doubt took root. Then came the party, Halloween bash at the Phi Delt House, a sprawling Victorian off State Street pulsing with bass and bad decisions. We went as a mismatched trio, me in a thrift store Dracula cape, Donald as a brooding vampire slayer, Stephen the reluctant Frankenstein's monster, green face paint smudged from kisses in the cab. The house throbbed, bodies grinding to EDM, red Solo cups sloshing, fog machine haze turning the air sticky. We stuck close at first, shots burning down our throats, Donald's hand possessive on my waist, Stephen's lips brushing my ear with dirty jokes. But as midnight neared, the crowd pulled us apart. Donald dragged to dance by old art school pals, me refilling drinks at the keg. I lost Stephen in the throng, scanning faces painted like zombies and witches. That's when I saw them. Stephen, backed against the staircase banister, a girl from his econ class, blonde, Delta Gamma pin glinting, pressed close, her hands fisting his shirt. He laughed, head tipped back, but it was his eyes that gutted me. Scanning the room, landing on mine across the chaos, widening in panic. She leaned in, lips grazing his jaw, and he didn't pull away, not fast enough. Betrayal hit like ice water, dousing the warmth we'd built. I turned, shouldering through the crowd, out into the crisp night air, leaves skittering underfoot like fleeing secrets. Donald found me on the porch, cigarette trembling between my fingers. What happened? Couldn't speak, just nodded toward the door. He peered in, jaw tightening as he clocked the scene. Stephen disentangling, pushing through bodies toward us. "Alex, wait!" Stephen burst out, paint streaked, breath ragged. But Donald stepped forward, voice steel. "Save it. You think this is a game? Parading us around like your little experiment, then falling back on straight guy safety nets." Stephen's face crumpled. "It's not like that." She cornered me. "Old habit." "Habit," I echoed, voice hollow. "While we're figuring this out, us." The argument erupted there on the porch, words flying like shrapnel. Accusations of cowardice, pleas for understanding. Donald's hurt the deepest cut. "I trusted you, both of you, With my heart on the line, revelers spilled out for smokes, daring, whispers rippling. Stephen fled first, bolting down the street toward campus, shoulders hunched against the chill. Donald and I walked back to his place in silence, the rift between us widening with each step. Inside, he poured whiskey, neat, handing me a glass with shaking hands. I can't do halfway, Alex. Not with him. Not with anyone. We made love that night, fierce, reclaiming, bodies slamming together in a bid to erase the fracture. His touches were maps of memory, lips murmuring my name like prayer. But dawn brought clarity, cold and unforgiving. Stephen's absence a ghost in the room. The fallout from the party clung like the stench of stale beer and regret, seeping into every corner of our lives. Monday morning, I woke alone in Donald's bed, sheets tangled around my waist, his side cool and empty. A note on the nightstand, coffee run. We need to talk about Stephen. My stomach nodded, talk, as if words could stitch the tear we'd ripped in ourselves. And Arbor felt accusatory that week, the diag's pathways mocking our fractured steps, the bell tower's chimes tolling like judgments. Classes were torture. Psych prof droning on attachment theory while I doodled broken hearts in my margins. Econ lecture a white noise blur. Texts from Stephen piled up unread. Please. Let me explain. I'm sorry. Coffee? I deleted them one by one, each swipe a small exorcism. Donald and I hunkered down at his place, a temporary bunker of takeout Thai and binge-watched The Bear, Carmi's rage a proxy for our own. He was tender in the aftermath, cooking eggs over easy the way I liked, tracing lazy patterns on my thigh during Schitt's Creek marathons, his laugh coaxing mine out like sunlight through blinds. You're mine now, he'd whisper in the dark, fingers interlaced, breath sinking. And for stolen hours, felt true his intensity a bomb, hazel eyes locking on mine with a fierceness that said stay. But Stephen haunted the edges, a shadow in the group chat we'd muted, a pang when I passed our apartment building on Washtenaw, this fire escape dripping icicles like frozen tears. By Wednesday, curiosity or masochism won. I swung by after shift, key turning in the lock with a click that echoed too loud. He was there, sprawled on the couch in gray sweats, a half-empty pizza box on the coffee table, TV flickering some ESPN highlight reel on mute. His eyes lit when I entered, then dimmed at my stiffness. You came, needed my laundry, but it bought time. I dumped my bag by the door, hovering like a ghost. He sat up, running hands through unkempt hair. Alex, that girl, Lindsay, it was nothing. Reflex. Old me. Before. Us. Before us. I snorted, crossing arms. There is no us if you can't own it. His face fell. Raw. I know. I'm scared. Okay. Coming out, it's not just words. My folks, the team, everyone expecting the all-American straight dude. And Donald. Shit. I love him. Like a brother. More. But you're the spark that lit it all. I sank onto the armchair opposite, the distance between us a chasm. Then why sabotage it? At the party, you could have pushed her away. Instead, you let it play out. Shame colored his cheeks. I saw you watching. Thought maybe you'd walk away. Make it easy to crawl back to safe. Anger flared. Hot. Easy? Nothing about this is easy. Donald's gutted. Thinks you're playing us. Stephen leaned forward. Elbows on knees. Voice cracking. Tell him I'm not. That I want to fix it. All of us. The plea hung, vulnerable. Against my better judgment, I nodded. I'll talk to him. But no more half measures. Stephen. In or out. Relief washed his features. He reached for my hand, thumb brushing my knuckles. In. Promise. That night, I bridged the gap, texting Donald. Stephen wants to talk. All three of us. Neutral ground? His reply, the jug. Tomorrow. 7. The brown jug was quieter midweek, a haven of worn booths and the sizzle of burgers from the grill. We slid into our old spot, awkward triangle reformed. Donald nursing a stout, eyes wary. Stephen fidgeting with a coaster. Me wedged between, mediator in jeans and a flannel that suddenly felt too tight. Stephen spoke first, voice steady despite the tremor. I fucked up. The party stupid, scared shit. But I'm done hiding. Bye. Gay curious. Whatever. And I care about you both. Too much to let ego ruin it. Donald sipped, considering. Words are cheap. Steve. Show me. Stephen met his gaze, unflinching. How? Name it. A beat. Then Donald's lips quirked. Kiss him. Here. Now. Stephen's eyes widened, darting to the bartender wiping glasses, a couple laughing 2 booths over. Don. Now. Donald's tone brooked no argument, a challenge laced with hurt. Stephen swallowed, then turned to me, cupping my face with that familiar gentleness. Our kiss was soft at first, apologetic, seeking, then deepened, his tongue tentative, tasting of beer and redemption. Whispers from nearby faded. The world narrowed to his warmth, the scrape of his stubble, a low hum of approval from Donald. When we broke, cheeks flushed, Donald leaned across, sealing it with his own kiss to Stephen, fiercer, reclaiming, fingers fisting hair. That's how, he murmured against Stephen's lips. No more running. The rest of the night unspooled like a truce. Pictures flowing. Stories retold with new layers. High school fumblings between Stephen and Donald. My Texas crushes on the quarterback who never knew. Laughter returned. Tentative. Then full-throated. The jug's neon buzzing approval. But harmony's fragile. Thursday brought storm clouds. Literal. Dumping sleet that iced the streets, metaphorical in the form of Stephen's mom calling from Detroit. I overheard from the bathroom, towel-drying curls. Yeah, ma. Seeing someone. Complicated. No, not a girl. Silence stretched. Then his voice small. I know. Give me time. He hung up, face ashen, collapsing against the wall. She cried. Said prayers would fix it. I knelt beside him, hand on his knee. They'll come around. Or they won't. But you've got us. He pulled me close, forehead to mine. Don't let go. Donald crashed that night. The 3 of us piled in Stephen's full-size bed, limbs entangled, breaths sinking in the dark. It was innocent at first, shared warmth against the chill, but hands wandered, exploratory. Donald's palm sliding under my shirt, Stephen's lips on my shoulder, a symphony of sighs and shifts. We crested together, slow and reverent, bodies a tangle of discovery, no rush, just presence. Friday dawned brighter, campus glittering under a rare sun. We vowed normalcy. Study dates at the grad library. Tailgate plans for the Ohio State game. But undercurrents stirred. Stephen's coach pulling him aside after practice. Murmurs of focus and distractions. Donald's ex texting from Chicago. Heard you're playing house. Careful, he breaks hearts. I ignored the warnings, lost in the glow. Until Saturday's art crawl downtown, booths lining Main Street, vendors hawking pottery and prints, live fiddles twanging Appalachian tunes. We wandered hand in brush, stealing cotton candy kisses, when Stephen's phone rang, unknown number. He stepped away, voice low. Yeah? Now? Pause. Shit? Okay. Be there in 10. We waited, brows raised. He returned, sheepish. Teammate's truck broke down. Tow needed. Won't take long. Donald nodded, but his jaw tightened. We'll browse. Text when you're back. An hour ticked by, fiddle music fading to dusk, street lamps flickering on. My phone buzzed. Not Stephen, but a photo from an unknown. Stephen, at a dive off campus, lips locked with Lindsay from the party, her hands in his hair. The world tilted. Betrayal, round two sharper, calculated. Donald saw my face, snatched the phone. That fucker. We confronted him at the jug later, photo damning on the table like evidence. Stephen arrived windswept, excuses dying on his lips. It's not. She ambushed me. Ambushed. Donald's voice rose, drawing stares. Or you sought it. Tired of the complication. Stephen's eyes pleaded with me. Alex, believe me. I don't know what to believe anymore. My voice cracked, the hurt visceral. You're scared? Join the club. But this? It's cruelty. He reached for me. I recoiled. Donald stood, tossing cash on the table. We're done. Both of us, until you figure your shit. We left him there, the door slamming like finality. Outside, sleet stung our faces, mirroring the burn in my chest. Donald's arm around me was anchor, but the fracture ran deep, trust shattered, shards embedding. That night, rage fueled us, sex turned punishing, nails raking, bites marking territory. But pleasure soured to salt, tears mixing on pillows. What now? Donald whispered, spent and spent. Survive, I replied, hollow. Without him, yet absence amplified him. Empty chair at breakfast, ghost texts deleted. A week in, Stephen showed at Donald's door, rain-soaked, eyes red-rimmed. Let me in. Please. Donald barred the way, but I stepped forward. One chance. Truth. All of it. Inside. Over cold pizza. Poured. His mom's ultimatums. Coach's homophobic jabs. Lindsay's manipulation. She threatened to out me if I didn't play along. Lies? Maybe. But his breakdown, sobs racking that broad frame, felt real. We forgave. Tentatively, group therapy of sorts. Boundaries drawn. No solo hangs with exes. Therapy apps downloaded. Winter deepened. Snow blanketing campus in hush. Our bond reforged in fire. Snowball fights on the Fab Quad. Cocoa-fueled confessions by the fireplace at Donald's. Spring teased with crocuses, but cracks lingered. Graduation loomed. Stephen to a Detroit marketing gig. Donald to Chicago's art scene. Me grad school bound at UMich. We'll make it. Stephen vowed one starry night on the Huron's banks, hands linked. Distance be damned. I wanted to believe. But doubt whispered. Could love this tangled endure? Graduation weekend hit Ann Arbor like a fever dream. Caps and gowns in maize and azure flooding the streets. Families in khakis snapping pics by the Block M. Air electric with futures unfolding. For us, it was bittersweet. Diplomas clutched like talismans, but under the pomp, our triangle teetered, promises tested by looming goodbyes. Stephen's send-off was a rager at his parents' lake house up in Traverse City, 2 hours north. Emerald waters lapping pine-shrouded shores, the kind of Michigan postcard that screamed escape. His folks flew in from Florida, all hugs and proud of you, son, oblivious to the undercurrents, chalking his roommates up to college bromance. Donald and I drove up in his beat-up Subaru, windows down, Springsteen blasting Born to Run, wind whipping our hair as we chased the sun. The house was a A-frame dream, lofted ceilings, stone fireplace crackling, deck overlooking dunes. Partygoers arrived in waves, teammates with coolers of Busch Light, art majors with easels for impromptu portraits, Stephen's sister grilling brats with a wink. Heard you boys are thick as thieves. We played it cool, high fives, inside jokes, but touches lingered under tables, glances loaded. Night fell sticky, bonfire spitting embers into the indigo sky, laughter echoing off the lake. Stephen pulled us aside mid-toast, slipping into the boathouse shadowed by willows. Needed this, he murmured, drawing us close, lips brushing Donald's temple, then mine. You too, my anchors. We melted into him, the scent of pine and smoke mingling with his cologne. Simple, woodsy. Hands roamed under flannel shirts, breaths hitching in the humid dark. Chicago, Detroit, and Arbor. It's not far, Donald whispered, nipping Stephen's ear. Weekends. FaceTime fucks. Stephen chuckled. Low. Deal. But tonight, all in. The boathouse became sanctuary. Canoes shoved aside. Blankets pilfered from the linen closet. We undressed slow, reverent. Stephen's broad chest freckled by firelight filtering through slats. Donald's lean lines inked with a small swallow tattoo on his rib, freedom's emblem. My body, wiry and scarred from a childhood bike wreck, fit between them like a missing piece. Touches built like waves. Stephen's mouth on my throat, Donald's fingers curling inside me, gasps sinking to the lap of water outside. Climax crashed collective, cries muffled against shoulders, bodies shuddering in unison. After, we lay spent, stars wheeling overhead through a skylight, fingers tracing lazy constellations on skin. Love you, Stephen breathed, the words a vow to us both. Donald echoed it, his hand over our joined ones. I believed, in that suspended hush. But dawn brought reality. Hungover guests raiding the kitchen, Stephen's mom cornering him for the talk, her Bible study guilt trips thinly veiled. He emerged pale, forcing smiles through mimosas. Drive home was quiet, radio filling voids, Donald sketching lake maps on a napkin, me navigating tolls, Stephen's hand on my thigh a silent plea. Back in Ann Arbor, fracture lines spiderwebbed. Stephen's job started Monday, commute to Detroit swallowing days in traffic jams and corner offices. Texts dwindled, swamped. Miss you. Donald packed for Chicago, canvases stacked like tombstones, his ex's shadow in forwarded emails. Heard about your little menage. Careful, Don. Poly never lasts. I dove into grad seminars, neuropsych dives into desire's wiring. Ironic mirror to our mess. Nights, Donald and I filled the void. Gallery hops in Ferndale. Motown vinyl hunts at PJ's Records. Bodies colliding in my new solo apartment off campus. Rent jacked, but freedom's price. He's slipping, Donald said one night, post-orgasm glow fading as he scrolled Stephen's sparse Insta. Gym selfies, client lunches, Know us. He's adjusting, I countered, but doubt gnawed. A weekend visit to Detroit, steeling ourselves for his sleek high-rise. Skyline views from the 20th floor unraveled it. Stephen greeted us harried. Tie loosened. Takeout tie steaming on the glass table. Traffic was hell, he explained, pecking cheeks like acquaintances. The night soured. His phone buzzing incessant work. Bros from the office. A bar hop he forgot to mention. We crashed on his king bed, but he tossed, muttering about deadlines. Morning, over cold coffee. He dropped it. Lindsay's interning here. Ran into her. Cleared the air. Donald's fork clattered. Cleared how? Just talk. She's cool now. Stephen's nonchalance was blade sharp. I pushed. No contact. Remember, boundaries. He sighed, exasperated. It's not a big deal. You're both so intense. Lighten up. The drive back was storm silent. Rain lashing the windshield like accusations. He's choosing, Donald said finally, voice hollow. The straight life. Us as vacation. Heart splintering. Couldn't argue. Days blurred to weeks. Stephen's visits sporadic. Excuses piling. Quarterly reports. Flu going around. Donald left for Chicago mid-July. U-Haul groaning under art supplies. Our goodbye at Union Station a tear-streaked frenzy. Lips bruised. Promises of trains and planes. Fight for us, he urged, boarding with a final kiss. Or let go. Alone in Ann Arbor's summer swelter. Cicadas droning. Campus a ghost town. I confronted Stephen over video. His face pixelated. Detroit skyline behind. What's happening? To us? He looked away, jaw tight. It's too much. The hiding at work. With family. You and Don deserve out. Proud. I can't yet. Can't or won't. Tears hot. Unbidden. Won't risk it all. His voice broke. I love you. But love's not enough. The call ended. Screen black as my chest caved. Betrayal's final twist. Not a rival. But fear's grip. I shattered. Dishes hurled in rage. Sketches torched in the sink. Runs along the Huron till lungs burned. Friends rallied. Coffee shop crew dragging me to Carytown concerts. Therapy sessions unpacking the grief. August brought heat lightning, mirroring my turmoil. Donald's texts from Chicago. Gallery opening next month. Come? I booked the train. Stealing for salvage. The city hit like jazz. L-tracks rumbling. Lake Michigan breeze off the Gold Coast. Donald's Wicker Park walk up alive with turpentine and half-finished oils. He met me at the station. Paint-flecked overalls. Smile tentative. Missed you. We fell into each other. Nights in his loft bed. Days wandering Millennium Park. Cloud Gate reflecting our distorted selves. Stephen called. He admitted over deep dish at Lou Malnati's. Wants to visit. Make amends. Rage flared anew. After ghosting? Fuck him. Donald nodded, but his eyes held shadows. Maybe closure. For all. The visit came Labor Day. Stephen Amtrak ING in. Duffel slung. Eyes haunted. We met at a dive in Logan Square. Neon Polaco sign buzzing. Tacos greasy and forgiving. Awkward hugs thawed to shots of mezcal. Stories skirting the wound. His promotion. Our new routines. Midway. He cracked. I panicked. Thought distance would clarify. Straighten me out. Laugh bitter. But it didn't. I dream of you both. Wake hard. Aching. Donald's hand covered his. Then fight. Stephen's gaze on me, pleading. Can we try? Slow. Visits. No pressure. Hope flickered. Fragile. We nodded, the trio reforming in fits. Weekends triangulated, Chicago, Detroit, and Arbor pinball. Hands held under diner tables. Bodies reuniting in motel rooms off I-94. Fall-colored leaves fire orange. Our call's a lifeline. Stephen's voice steadying over speakerphone. Donald's sketches of us three mailed framed. But winter winds howled omens. Christmas. Stephen's family demanded his presence. Turkey and tinsel in Florida. No plus ones. He went, returned hollow-eyed. Dad's sermon on traditional values. Felt like drowning. We rallied New Year's in Chicago. Donald's loft strung with lights. Champagne toasts to reinvention. Fireworks burst over the lake. Our kisses tasting of possibility. This year, Stephen vowed, arms around us. I'm out. To everyone. January bit cold, but resolve warmed. Stephen emailed HR. Personal news. Came out to his boss over Zoom. Voice unwavering. Coach called, supportive gruffness. Knew you were soft. Play ball. Mom's response. Tears. Then tentative love you anyway. Emboldened. He posted. A candid of us three at the Detroit Institute of Arts. Arms slung. Caption. My heart doubled. Grateful. Likes poured. But so did shade, teammates unfollowing. Ants praying. He weathered it. Leaning on us. Late calls dissecting hurts. Drives to Chicago for hugs. Spring bloomed resilient. Tulips in Grant Park. My thesis defense aced. Donald's first solo show selling out. We gathered for my birthday rooftop in Ann Arbor. Skyline twinkling. Cake smudged on cheeks. To us, Donald toasted. Glasses clinking. Tangled, but true. Stephen pulled me aside later. Under stars. That night I caught you. It changed everything. Showed me what I was missing. I kissed him. Deep. Worth the speechless. Laughter bubbled. Donald joining. Our circle complete. Not perfect, jealousies flared. Distances strained. But human. Messy. Mending. Yet climax loomed unbidden. June. Stephen's big pitch client dinner in New York. Schmoozing execs. One night, he promised. Back tomorrow. The call came at 2 a.m. Slurred. Panicked. Accident. Lindsay driving. Crash. Heart seized. Hospital wait in Detroit dawn. Sterile halls. Coffee vending bile. He emerged bandaged. Bruised. She confessed. Been stalking. Set it up. Jealous of us. Rage. Relief crashed. Donald flew in. We three huddled in the room. Stephen's hand in ours. Monitors beeping steadfast. Almost lost you, I whispered. Won't happen again. His grip tightened. You're my everything. Recovery bonded us deeper. Home nursing in Ann Arbor. Donald's soups. My bedtime stories from psych journals. Scars faded, physical, emotional, leaving strength. Lindsay faced charges. Her toxicity exposed. Summer solstice. We road-tripped west. Yellowstone's geysers mirroring our eruptions. Nights in pop-up tents under big sky. Around campfires. We dreamed. Joint loft in Chicago. Gallery marketing hybrid for Stephen and Donald. My practice specializing in queer youth. Back east. Roots deepened. Vows unspoken but etched. Rings simple. Silver. Exchanged on the Huron's shore at sunset. water-lapping witness. Forever's a choice, Donald said, slipping mine on. We choose. Tears pricked. Stephen's kiss sealed it. Speechless no more. Years folded like origami. Sharp creases of challenge smoothed to graceful forms. Chicago became home base. A sun-drenched loft in Pilsen. Murals exploding color on brick walls. Our bed a king-sized haven where mornings tangled lazy. Coffee brewing to the sizzle of arepas Donald learned from his abuela's recipes. Stephen commuted to a hybrid role. Marketing for indie galleries, his pitch voice now charming queer artists. Not suits. I hung my shingle downtown. Office overlooking the Bean. Sessions unpacking closets for kids like young me. Texas echoes in their wide eyes. And arbor visits were pilgrimages. Tailgates with old crew. Now out and allied. Bonfires by the Huron. Toasting ghosts. Stephen's mom evolved. Awkward brunches turning to pride flag pins. Her I do love you, a hard-won grace. Donald's showings drew crowds. His series Tangled Roots Us Three in abstract strokes. Limbs merging, colors bleeding identity. But humanity's no fairy tale conflict simmered. Stephen's wanderlust flared. A weekend solo in Portland. Inspiration hunt. Returning with bar stamps and vague networking. Donald's jealousy spiked. Art turning darker. Canvases slashed red. Am I enough? He'd demand. Voice small in the shower steam. I'd mediate. Heart mediators ache. We're enough together. Therapy group now. A queer poly circle in Boys Town honed us. Tools for the grind. One session. Stephen cracked. Fear it'll end. Like my parents' divorce. Clean splits. We held space. Tears cathartic. Emerging tighter. A turning point. Miscarriage scare. Donald's brief foray into caring via surrogate dreams, dashed by health flags. Grief hollowed us. Night silent. My office floods from client parallels. Stephen cooked comfort. Chili bubbling. Stories of foster kids he'd sponsor. Families chosen, he said. Hand on Donald's flat belly. We'll build it our way. Adoption bloomed slow. Paperwork mountains. Home studies probing our unconventional weave. Judges raised brows. But our love letter essays, Stephen's earnest prose, Donald's illustrated folios, my psych-backed pleas swayed. Little Jamie arrived fall equinox. 3 years old. Button curls and wary eyes from Detroit foster churn. First night, he clutched Stephen's finger. Donald sketched his sleeping face. I whispered lullabies in Spanish from my mom's side. Parenting rewired us. Diapers at dawn. Playground pushes in Lincoln Park. Jamie's giggles dissolving spats. Dad-ass Steve for Stephen's bear hugs. Pop Don for paint-smeared crafts. Papa Alex for bedtime tales. Holidays layered magic. Hanukkah lights. Donald's nod to mom's heritage. Diwali sweets from my cousin's visit. Christmas trees trimmed with our rings as ornaments. Yet climax circled unbidden. Jamie's schoolyard taunt. Your daddy's kiss boys? Gross. Echoes of our youth. Venom from ignorance. Stephen raged at the principal. Donald channeled to murals on community walls. I testified at board meetings for inclusive curricula. Backlash bit. Online trolls doxing Stephen's firm. A client pulling from Donald's show. Worth it? Doubt whispered. Stephen's answer. Over kitchen wine. Every scar. We rallied fundraisers at our loft. Allies swelling ranks. Jamie, resilient sprite. Drew rainbows. My family superheroes. A decade in. Silver threads in our hair. We stood on that Brooklyn rooftop. Relocated for my fellowship at NYU. Skyline a glittering promise. Rain misted, but we didn't mind. Arms linked. Jamie splashing below with cousins. Remember and Arbor? Donald mused, head on my shoulder. Stephen chuckled, kissing wet brows. Door slamming open. Your secrets on screen. I laughed, pulling them close. Best catch ever. No tidy bow. Life's a mosaic. Shards of joy and jagged loss. But ours? Human. Vivid. Betrayals mended to deeper trust. Conflicts forged to unbreakable alloy. Laughter lines etched our faces. Loves multiplied in Jamie's grin. In the quiet I-dos renewed yearly. Under that drizzle, city humming below, I whispered to the stars. Speechless no more, but forever grateful for the act that started it all.